Hello, and welcome back to another Raw Sport interview. We've been doing a lot of these recently, which has been really exciting. As you can see, my guest today is Warwick Ladies Hockey Vice President Lara Wildenberg. She'll be joining me in just a sec, but I feel like I should just introduce myself. So I am Josh Sim, the head of sport at Raw 1251 AM, your award-winning student radio station. Few things to plug. Obviously, our social media is in the video description down below. And we've had some exciting stuff go around recently. Obviously, Raw has turned 50. It's the 50th birthday of the station, which is really cool. And recently, I did a show from home looking into the history of the department from trying to do quick maths, 1970 to 2020, looking at that history. So it's on the Retro Raw Mixed Cloud. So do check that out if you want to know more about the history of the sport team on radio and, you know, what we're doing now and all that kind of good stuff, alumni and all that kind of stuff. So obviously we've got a F1 special of Raw Sport Weekly coming up tomorrow, probably. Which will look back at the Algarve Grand Prix, look ahead at Imola and all that kind of stuff. And then Saturday, we've got the Quarant Stream as well, 2 hours talking football, as we've done throughout this term. So, so you can check that out as well. Right. So, and also do check out on Spotify. We've set up an interview podcast thing as well. So all of our interviews go on to Spotify podcasts as well as YouTube. So options. We love options. So there you go. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Lara Wildenberg, the Vice President of Warwick's Ladies Hockey Team. Now, there we go. Hey.
Hi there. Hello, Josh. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on. I'm super excited. So I guess for people who don't know, don't know, what course you're studying, what year you're in, do you want to quickly just introduce yourself for that?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Lara. My pronouns are she, her, and I study classics and English at Warwick. I'm in my third and final year. And I'm Vice President of Ladies Hockey, as you already introduced me.
Yeah. So first of all, how have you found this year personally? Because obviously it's not the ordinary year by any means. So how have you found it?
I've been okay. I'm really glad that I have hockey and we've been able to play as much as we are at the moment. And it's really been my little bit of sanity, to be honest, rather than being stuck inside all the time with lectures. I haven't had any lectures on campus actually. Later this afternoon is my first one, so I'm really excited for that, to see all the people I've seen on Teams. So I'm good. I'm super happy, and really glad to be talking about hockey today.
Yeah, it's really weird walking around campus. Like even I find it like it's just like the lack of people. It's really strange. For sure. So I guess before we'll talk about ladies hockey, the team itself, in just a bit. But like I kind of want to start when I start these like sort of society interviews. I'm always interested in knowing about how you got into. Did you get into hockey before Warwick? Was this something that you saw at sports fair and thought, I just want to give it a try? I'd love to know, your connection to hockey, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So I have always loved hockey since about year 7 when I really got into it. I joined a club in year 7. So I've really been doing it for like 10 years now. And I knew when I came to uni, that was what I wanted to do. And I didn't join any Facebook groups, even look at the club, because I just knew I was going to play hockey. And now that I'm in charge of kind of reeling in all the freshers, I realize that is the most annoying kind of person who doesn't like any of the social media, but that was me. So I just turned up when I was a fresher, and I've absolutely loved it ever since. But that's by no means the case for a lot of people. We've had so many freshers this year and every year who have never played before. And that is a really big part of the club. I guess I'll get on to talk about later. So that's me. That's my experience with hockey.
Yeah. And you mentioned you played in school. Do you follow hockey outside of uni sport? Like, do you follow it as an actual sport? Like, like with countries playing and all that kind of stuff, or is your interest kind of more in playing the sport as opposed to watching it?
Yeah, so I love watching it, and I wish it was on, I wish it was more accessible, more especially the women's games as well. There was actually a game recently that a lot of the team were watching yesterday afternoon. I was doing work, but it was, I think, GB versus the Netherlands, and I love watching hockey at a high level. I've been lucky enough to see it at the Olympics and a couple of the other events that have been at the Lee Valley Hockey Centre since. So I have been really lucky and been to some live hockey games, which were incredible. But it's mainly playing, to be honest. I don't spend a lot of time watching sports, sadly.
No, it's fair enough. I mean, that's why I ask, because people are different when it comes to sports. Some people love playing it and don't like watching it. Some people it's the complete opposite, and some people it's both. So yeah, no, I totally get that. And I saw the British Dutch results yesterday. Yeah, the men and women's one. So I think, what was it? The women lost or drew?
I think you don't know the final result. Sorry.
Right. Well, no, it's fine. Let's expose both of us for not knowing the results. It's all good. So I guess moving on into talking about Warwick ladies hockey itself. Obviously, it's a weird time for all sports teams. And in fact, for societies, actually, just expanding it even further. So what was it like planning for this year? First of all, take me back to, I guess, all the exec group chats and like panic about how to kind of get all the arrangements out for this year. What was that all like?
Yeah, so our exec takes over for term 3. So we start our roles in term 3. And I honestly don't think anyone expected the effects of coronavirus to go on this long. We just assumed by term 1 it will be better, there'll be some concessions, but it wouldn't really affect us this much. However, we were very wrong. It really has. So much has changed. There's so much we can't do at the moment. But our attitude has really changed as an exec. I think normally each year we have so much going on outside of the hockey. We have so many socials, so many charity events, etc., which we just can't put on. So we've really just tried to focus on the actual sport and play that as much as we can, because at the moment that's where we see each other and that's what we're allowed to do. So it's been hard. Our president Lauren's done an amazing job with everything. Things have always fallen through, like coaches and arrangements with pitches, rearranging games, which is the job of our club captain, Rhiannon. So everyone's been amazing at handling it all and just taking it under your stride, because it's so hard to plan anything in advance at the moment, for everything, that is, not just sport. But yeah, no,
I totally get that. I guess, I mean, you touched upon it there, but is that the big difference from last year to this year? I guess the increased kind of more focus onto the actual sport itself. Would you say that's the biggest difference between when you played in second year versus now?
Yeah, I guess so. Second year, hockey took up so much of my time, but not just the actual sport. We, it was pop on a Wednesday, being hungover on a Thursday, socials, watching other hockey games, everything else that we do throughout the week and throughout the term, which has gone. So that is probably the biggest difference. And I guess we've all had to adapt in our roles. A lot of things have changed. So for example, as vice president, I'm in charge of the freshers. So I'm the fresher liaison for the club, but I also plan the Christmas meal and the ball, which have sort of, what's happening with those. It's really hard to plan. Same with the social sec, a lot of role and tour. Bless her, our tour sec, Henny, has had to become the COVID officer for the club, which is not what she signed up for. And she's been amazing at that. So everyone's just adapted, and I think it's going okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's easy for any sports team or society. It's definitely rough. And I mean, you mentioned tour and ball and stuff, all these social events. I mean, what is it like, I guess, organizing socials, and what have your socials evolved into, I guess, for this year? Because has it become more virtual? Has it become more like small gatherings? What have your socials been like?
Yeah, so We started virtual socials very early on. I mean, like everyone. So in term 3 last year, we had virtual circles at some point for a small group of, persistent circlers. We had movie nights, coffee mornings, yoga, really lovely, wholesome events, and everyone enjoys them. I do think it's got to this stage and we're quite bored of online socials, so they're still there, but we're trying to be a bit more creative. In pre-season, we actually made family groups within the club, so it would be a group of 6 girls across year groups, across teams, and that was your family, and the family heads had to arrange a small meal out, which was really nice because you're hanging out with people who aren't in your specific team, and was within regulations and everything, so that was lovely. But yeah, in terms of socials, it has been a struggle, especially now campus is on in tier 2, so we are desperately trying to think of something for our freshers to do. But yeah, it's just been a case of adapting and I guess coming up with solutions when problems arise, because it's so hard to plan in advance.
Yeah, I feel for all the social sex around. Like it is really a tough job at the moment. Yeah, I mean, speaking of freshers, obviously it's been a lot more difficult to, obviously, because sports fair and societies fair were virtual. I know from speaking from Raw's experience, we're better with the face-to-face societies fair kind of thing. Like it's much easier for us to sell student radio to people than by doing it over chat. So I'm sure that must have been difficult for you guys as well. So how have you tried to get freshers involved throughout this sort of weird start to the year?
Yeah. Well, we've actually been so lucky, and I'm really pleased. I'm so happy with the amount of freshers that we have. We were very worried over the summer that freshers just wouldn't know how to find us and whatever. But honestly, I think the key to finding everyone was social media. We absolutely spammed our Facebook, and if anyone listening saw me sharing in the fresher groups, this is hi, finally me. But yeah, I posted and shared twice a week at least. Charlotte made some amazing designs and graphics that helped us a lot. So really that had to be our way. We did an Instagram Q&A live during pre-season, which was quite useful, I think, because of sports fair being so different this year. And yeah, we've been so happy with the amount of freshers we've got. I was really surprised, and I think because there aren't socials and nights out going on, they are maybe looking more towards sports as a time to see other people outside their flat, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously, I've seen the Ladies Hockey IG. You guys normally do pre-season, but obviously that's again, it's been a weird summer. So what was pre-season like? And obviously, you guys, I think you have freshers involved in pre-season as well, don't you? It's a kind of icebreaker thing. So how was that? How was that experience?
Yeah, pre-season seems like so long ago now, but it was really good actually, because we hadn't seen each other for so long, so it was a lot of fun. We normally have a lot of training, a lot of socials, but obviously less socials this time. We always invite freshers, and I think they're incredibly brave just to turn up and stay with us and play hockey without having met any of us. But yeah, it was awesome, and they really integrated into the club, which was so nice. And yeah, I think it was such a good setup to the year before things slowly started crumbling and campus went into tier 2 and the rule of 6 appeared. Yeah. But yeah, we were very lucky to have a almost normal preseason, I'd say.
Yeah, it did feel like you guys got ahead of, I mean, it's a bad word to use at the moment, but ahead of the curve in terms of fresher engagement and stuff. So that was really cool to watch from the outside looking in. Obviously, yeah, speaking of COVID, obviously it does mean that more measures have to be taken for training to become safer and more safety precautions. So do you want to just outline what those have been and how they've impacted training or anything like that in any way?
Okay, so we as I mentioned earlier, have a new COVID officer for the club. This is an England hockey requirement, and I think a requirement of Warwick Sports. Well, I'm not sure. And that's Henny. So she is essentially in charge of any cases or potential cases. You have to let her know. She keeps track of who comes to each session. Obviously, we're booking on via the Warwick Sport website, but she also takes the register, so we know exactly who attended. We have to basically, there's a rule where you're not allowed to touch equipment with your hands. You can just use your stick, which is fine, but there are so many occasions where someone accidentally picks up a ball and goes and puts it down again. So it's a bit weird to get used to, but I think we've been doing well. It's just a case of trying to be 2 meters apart wherever possible when we're playing at not during play, but when we're on the pitch having a team talk, or at the start or end of a session when we're getting our things out the dugout. So it's, you know, been an adjustment, but I think everyone's done great to remember. And it's just a, I guess, case of we warm up in smaller teams. We are just trying to be super on it. And there have been times when there have been a few scares, but I think we've all been all right so far. And yeah, so obviously a lot of the freshers joining the club had to self-isolate in their flats. We had annoying incident where a lot of us from one session had to self-isolate, and we had to delay trials. So yeah, it hasn't been amazing, to be honest, but everyone who is free now just really appreciates getting back to hockey, and we're even more careful if we have had the experience of self-isolating. So yeah, that's kind of our precautions. And at the moment we are still allowed to play our local league, which is really exciting, since Bucks was cancelled on a Wednesday. And yeah, so I think that's all I can think of.
Yeah, no, I mean, it might, I literally just thought of a question, and it might come across as a, like, well, duh, obviously, but like, how much do you appreciate like playing hockey in the society now because of everything that's going on at the moment? I mean, obviously, when I say well, duh, because I'm expecting you to go, yeah, of course, but like, is there something different towards like how you kind of approach it now? Like, there's a bit more of appreciation for it.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to it so much more. There used to be, you know, training at the end of a really long day on campus, and you think, oh my goodness, I just want to go home. It's cold, it's dark, I don't want to go to training. But now I'm buzzing to go out the house. It's given me so much appreciation for the sport, and just to see everyone, because really that is my little community and family. So it has been lovely. I think on the flip side, it's made me so much more critical of when I do play, because I'm playing less and I want to play the best I can every time I play. So maybe that's a downside, but I guess it has changed my perspective a little bit, making the most of every time I can.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, you mentioned like you have to have you train in smaller groups. Obviously, does that affect the size of teams for matches and stuff like that, or does that remain the same and just everyone has to be a bit more careful?
So match days haven't really changed too much.
Okay.
We drive each other to our matches in our cars, so car sharing has been a lot more limited. We'd normally all try and cram in to a few cars to get there, but so that's changed. We all wear masks in cars, and for the warm-up we tried to stick in our teams, which I think is a bit of a shame, because it seems a bit cliquey having like the ones here, the twos here, the threes all warming up separately, and that isn't something we'd normally promote, but it just makes sense if that's the people you're playing with most. But for match days, I don't think there have been too many changes, to be honest. We can't shake hands at the end of a match. We have to like tap sticks. And also at the beginning, when we would normally all put our sticks in the middle and shout Warwick on the 1-2, we can't do that anymore because we can't be close enough. So that's the only differences.
Oh wow! So it's just like an isolated kind of call beforehand.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, and we're not really sure what alternative we can do. We tried standing in a circle 2 meters apart and sort of tapping our sticks stick to stick, but it just was awkward. It felt a bit like a ritual of some sort. So yeah, I don't know if we'll carry on that.
Yeah, I can just imagine like someone on the very far wing just yells at like a second after everyone else. I can just imagine the chaos that comes from it.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, you guys match day. It's a good segue. Obviously, you guys have already started your local season. You said obviously Bucks isn't happening at the moment, but if for those who haven't been paying attention to your socials or anything like that, what recent results have you got that you can crow about or kind of lament either way?
Uh,
What has there been to talk about?
Yeah, so on Saturday, the ones and the threes had a win, which was amazing. The twos didn't, unfortunately, but we're all just really happy to be playing again. And the fours also had a friendly against mixed last week, I think. Yes, they had like a sort of beginners friendly, which was so nice because there were girls who were brand new to hockey and got to play their first match, which normally happens a lot. Well, it seems like it happens a lot later in the term. So, yeah, that we've had some exciting results. I think I play for the ones, and I think in our Saturday league we're fairly in the middle. Most of the teams seem to be quite an even match, so we don't have very many impressive scores to share with you, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been going okay.
Yeah, and actually, something that just kind of came up in my mind was obviously a lot of team chemistry is kind of formed on the field, and like obviously if you have freshers obviously coming in for the first time, it's obviously the more hockey they get, the more kind of chemistry they build in terms of on the pitch at least. So does that feel different this year in terms of like building bonds with players on the pitch? I mean, obviously you've got socials off the pitch, but like what has that been like when you're playing?
I guess it's hard for me to answer this because it's
Yeah.
always a different like perspective you have of the freshers and how they're actually feeling. But I remember when I was a fresher and I felt like I took a whole term to really feel part of the team, which not
Yeah.
because everyone didn't accept me, just because I'm quite a critical person of like how I play. So I guess there's still an element of nerves, which is a shame we can't socialize all together. But I hope that in our online socials and when we've done like online Zoom workouts and stuff, the freshers have got to know us a little bit and feel part of the team, because they're all amazing and we love having them as part of the club, so we want them to feel included. But no, everyone who's joined so far has done an amazing job. Sadly, a lot were isolating, so loads of them just had their first game on Saturday.
Yeah.
But no, there were a few women of the match who were freshers on Saturday, which is good. And yeah, I hope they don't feel less integrated because of the lack of socials. But we're always trying to come up with ways to fix that.
Yeah, like I said before, it's like everyone's in the same boat. So you guys are not alone in that. Actually, what you brought up, it was literally going to be similar to my next question, I guess. Is there someone on? I mean, I know you play in the firsts. I know maybe you don't watch all the other teams playing, but like, is there a standout player or someone on a team that has been a particular one to watch so far? Is there any names come to mind?
I'm just
You,
gonna
you
go for our women of the
You
match
can
from Saturday.
you can shout yourself. I don't mind.
No. On Saturday, our woman of the match for the ones was Fiona, who's our goalie, and she just had a cracking game. I'm still in awe of it. Really, she was awesome and really kept us in it. So at the moment, that would be my answer. But yeah, I think there are a few freshers who are interesting, will have a lot of potential. So I'm excited to see them like develop as players and feel more confident on the pitch.
Yeah, totally. I mean, obviously we don't know what this season looks like long term, because things are happening on the fly. So I mean, is there something that the society is like aiming towards this year? Or I mean, granted, whatever hopes you had in March when you all got elected, obviously plans changed, but is there some sort of like goal or aspiration that you guys kind of have as a collective?
That's a really good question. I think at the moment we really just want to play as much hockey as we can, which kind of has resulted in us wanting to do as well as we can on the pitch, which is every season, but I guess this year more because we haven't got all the extra going on. We have a couple of plans for charity events later on in the term. So we've chosen our 2 charities. We have a national charity and local charity, which are Crohn's and Colitis UK and Coventry Haven Women's Aid. And we might do, we're in the process of planning some plans for November potentially. So hopefully we can, maybe do some running to raise money or do some sort of event that's not a social and not against COVID rules, but is, an extra that we can bring everyone together with. And in terms of long-term plans, those are the things we've got in planning. But for the whole year, I guess, just trying to keep everyone happy and remain that sense of like community for everyone who is come to uni and is, I guess, overwhelmed by all this online life.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And of course, one of the standout moments of the sporting year for all sports teams is varsity, which again we have no idea. I know you won't have an idea of what's happening with that. I certainly don't have any idea of what's happening with that. But if let's say it happens, let's say it does happen, what do you what is the thing that you look forward to the most for that weekend? Is it the actual match itself? Is it the build up? What is it that kind of gets you excited about varsity?
It's the match itself, I think. I was going to say the whole thing, but I can't. I love watching the other sports, actually. It's so nice because for some reason we support each other's games, but I hardly ever go and watch other sports on campus, which is actually such a shame. But then with varsity, you have this real sense of, go Warwick, which isn't there for the rest of the year for some reason. So I do really enjoy that. But my favorite part is the actual game. So last year I was captain and I was so nervous. I was so nervous for it, thinking I'm going to be the first captain to lose varsity. Like it's going to be me. It was fine. We won 8-1. So absolutely no reason to worry at all. But there's always that tiny concern that, everything's going to go wrong. So it was an amazing evening. And, we have the speakers pumping. The atmosphere is so great. I really enjoy watching the mixed hockey game as well, which is during the week. So I think it's... I can't remember if it was the Thursday, but anyway, so that was fun because normally we don't often watch the mixed games, so that was nice as well.
Yeah, I mean, for someone who's not involved in the sports team, it's really fun to kind of just walk around and just see all the different games. And obviously, we try cover as much as we can, so that's obviously really fun as well. So yeah, fingers crossed it happens. Again, we have no idea how it's gonna turn out, but I guess now I've got a lot of that's all the kind of serious questions I've got. And here come the silly questions. Okay. So we'll start off with ones about the team, and then onto the ones about you. So it's a bit of like who's most likely, I guess, is the team sort of questions. So for instance, here's I mean, who's most likely to be the fastest player on the team, do you think?
We have a lot of speedy ones. Charlotte, who runs our Instagram, is really quick, but so is Charlotte, and so is Vicky. So I don't actually know who would win in a sprint, but
interesting.
They're the 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's maybe we should just get them to do a race or something.
Yeah, I'll let you know. On training on Friday, I'll line them up and let you know the result.
Oh yeah, and then we'll have the exclusive, and then on Saturday we'll break down the race. Yeah.
Okay,
awesome. Who's sort of the parent / I guess the most organized, the one kind of looking after everyone on the team? I mean, you did say you're kind of looking in charge of freshers at the moment. Would you say yourself?
Maybe. I don't think of myself as even a third year or anyone senior in tech, which I am. I think a lot of the freshers when they joined said Rhiannon's so mature, she has her life together. That's the word that some of them use. So she's our club captain. Sadly, she's been self-isolating for such a long time, so she hasn't been to hockey in ages. But there are a lot of members of exec who are quite maternal like that. But yeah, maybe Rhiannon I'm going to go for that one.
I mean, I now swing to the opposite and say who's the most messy on the team, on the society.
In terms of what? Specify messy.
I want to say chaos. Does that help at all? Like the most chaotic?
I'm going to say Chelsea because she complains the most about not having her life together. I don't agree with this. I think, she's great at everything she does, but she always complaining about, I haven't bought food in ages. I haven't washed my clothes in ages, whatever. So, sorry, Chelsea. It's gonna be Chelsea.
Oh, right. Well, I look forward to seeing what she has to say about this. She'll probably send you a DM or something after this. Do you have a class clown in the society or team? Like someone who's the Joker in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Annabelle Chong. She was she was a social sec when I was a fresher, and last year she was in a year abroad, so she's just come back, and she always has energy and always makes me laugh. So I'm gonna say her.
Nice. Do you guys, I mean, I assume you guys, well, I mean, because you guys cast it, I guess this question's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But like, does someone take control of music before games, after the games? Is there a go-to person for music?
Yes, there are. So I would say there are two. So Charlotte often puts the music on. Lauren, our president, always wants to put the music on, but it's very heavily populated with the Glee soundtrack, so that's not always popular when it's the end of term and you've heard this for 10 weeks. So there are go-to DJs.
Glee's hit and miss for me. Like some hit and some just ain't it. So I mean, what does Charlotte Lloyd? What does she play? What kind of music does she play?
She plays crowd pleasers, I'd say. Like, for a warm up and stuff, like high energy, gets you going. I'm not gonna list the whole playlist, but it's good. I like it.
Nice, that's good. Similar in terms of music party theme. Who's the person who's likely to be the last one to leave a party?
The last one to leave a party.
Yeah.
I might say Lauren, our president. She's a lot of fun. Really? She always seems to be at some kind of after party when I'm long in bed. Yeah.
Fair enough. And then I guess my last one is, okay, this one's more to do with, I guess, with training and matches. Who's the latecomer? Who's going to be the one who turns up late and does the whole sorry I'm late kind of routine?
I don't think we have one specific late person. Vicky overslept on Saturday, and no offense, Vicky, but I was quite annoyed at this because our coach on Monday made us do a double doggy, like a running thing, as a punishment for being late to the match, and I drove her and she was late. It wasn't my fault. She wasn't even there at training, so as you can tell, I'm slightly salty about this, but no. So I'm gonna say Vicky just because of this recent event, but no one's that bad, I don't think.
I was gonna say, so you guys, if someone's late or something, does that automatically result in like extra running or something like that?
Yeah, well, we didn't really know about this, which might have made us a bit more punctual on Saturday. But so we have not a new coach, but our coach who coached the 3s and 4s last year now coaches the 1s and 2s. Andy, who's amazing, he's lovely, but he sprung this on us at training, so none of us were very happy about it. But I think there is going to be some sort of punishment from now on. Yeah, sadly.
Yikes. Is there anyone who you'd kind of see as like super competitive amongst all of you?
I think everyone's super competitive.
Really?
To be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on the hockey pitch, but it's also like playing circle games, doing anything. We are a competitive bunch, some more than others, but I can't really differentiate anyone at the moment, to be honest.
Fair enough. That rounds up all the questions I have about the team. So now it's some fun stuff to get to know you personally. So speaking of pop games, do you have a favorite circle game?
Oh, it's been so long.
I know.
I like all of them, but I'm gonna say Two Truths, One Lie. I think that's quite fun.
Nice.
You always find something out about someone that they've been keeping under wraps.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Sexy Roman numerals is a fun one. Well, I can't remember what it's called. I just know it's the frog game. Shit. I know it's the frog game.
When it's like one and you tell a story and you stand up one by one. Yeah, so all the circles I've heard of seem to have different version of this song. We have a one about Hockey Girl, but I'm not going to repeat it now.
Okay. Well, I'll message you afterwards and find out. Okay. So speaking of pop, do you have a favorite song that comes on at pop? I know it's been a while, but is there a song that as soon as it comes on at pop, it's like, that's my jam?
Probably, I did think about this before. It's probably Reach for the Stars, because when I was at a school disco, that was my jam and I love it. Like, a part of me just ignites inside when I hear that. So I'm going to go with Reach for the Stars.
And just a quick survey, Baywatch and guys taking off shirts, good or bad? Like it or not?
Guys and girls, just go for it. I don't mind.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, yeah.
I'm always interested because some people are just like, really? Ugh, and then they roll their eyes, and some people are just like, yeah, just go for it.
Well, I remember this happened. I can't remember. It must have been the last pop that I was at. And I was with two of my like Hockey Girl friends. And one of them did it, like took her top off, and the other one was like, what are you doing? We were like, yeah, do it. And it's always that way. I'm in pop, but then you're like, I'm in pop, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just go for it, have fun, commit.
You just look around and there's like 20 people doing the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. Do you have a favorite drink when you go to T-Bar or the Duck? Is there a go-to drink?
T-Bar, I go for a fishbowl, take out the ice, because otherwise it's just a waste of ice. I like all the fish bowls. They just rotate, to be honest. But yeah, that would be my go-to.
Fish bowls are really popular. I know multiple people who are big into the fish bowls. I
think because I'm normally at T-Bar like before Circle or before something, so it's nice, tastes nice, and like it's a decent size, and it's only £6, I think, still. But yeah, so that's my go-to.
Fair enough. Moving on from drink to food, if I gave you all the ice cream in the world, what flavor are you picking?
Chocolate. I know it sounds really basic, but like a good chocolate ice cream, you just can't beat it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with it, really.
No, that was my most decisive answer of all.
Moving from the sweet to the savory, or maybe sweet, I don't know. What if someone said, you can have anything you have for dinner and with no cost or whatever, what would you pick as your kind of perfect meal? That's
a really mean question. Oh, I don't know. Of all the cuisine, I can choose. I love all food, so that's just too hard.
What would you be in the mood in if I said, if you were to have something now, for instance?
Well, yesterday with my housemates, we all ordered pizza, and it was a really good pizza that I had. It's like a meatball pizza, so I could do with that again, to be honest.
Fair enough. Speaking of pizza, is there a favorite place that you have to eat away from campus, like a takeaway or a cafe, or maybe a pizza shop as well? Is there a favorite?
Well, this is a really good question because we actually can plug our sponsors right now. We are sponsored by Batelli's Pizza in Leamington, which is such a great little family business, and their pizza is amazing, actually. So we have a discount code that you can use, UHHC, 10% off. And yeah, they've been awesome. They also had a competition recently, which was online, and you like tag each other to win 6 pizzas and 6 beers. And I was really angry I didn't win this. I wanted it so badly, but oh wow. Oh well.
Yeah. I mean, just asking for a friend here, does that discount apply for people who are in the society or people outside as well? Is there friends and family
And
discount?
like, I should have clarified that before I leaked it to the world. But
Yeah, exactly.
we put it on our socials, so yeah, use it if you want to.
I'm gonna write this down after this. I'm gonna write this down. Do you have a guilty pleasure movie or TV show?
To be honest, I do. It's a bit embarrassing, but with my mum at home, we always watch Neighbours and the soap opera. I love it. And I actually got one of my housemates into it as well. So that is what I watch. That keeps me sane. It's a little bit of home watching Neighbours every day. Yeah.
As an Australian, I approve. I approve of the choice.
Good. It's a great show. It's so dramatic and completely unrealistic, but I love it.
Yeah, who needs EastEnders or Coronation Street when you've got Neighbours and Home and Away? Honestly, running out of ones. Okay, we talked about. I mean, you talked about Charlotte does the music before game. I mean, if you had to pick music, or if you had to pick something before game, what would you kind of pick? Is there a certain artist or genre or something like that?
Honestly, I am quite boring. For a game match, like for a warm-up, I just put on some like mainstream pop artist, anything that is on free Coventry and Warwickshire radio, because I love that radio station. They always have like the current like pop charts, whatever it's called. So yeah, I'm a bit boring. Maybe some Becky Hill, Dua Lipa, or something like that.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And they'll get a sing along. Finally, since it's getting cold and we all wish we were somewhat like warm at the moment, holiday destination, what's your ideal one?
I really want to go to Rome right now.
Really?
Well, always. Yeah. So obviously I study classics and English, so I spend all day reading ancient Roman literature and thinking about Rome, and it's just such an amazing city. I have been before, but a really long time ago, so I'm really desperate to go back, to be honest. Yeah.
Nice. And you'll get all the pizza you want there as well.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So that wraps it up for all the questions I have. So before you go, I mean, is there anything, I know on the little ticker thing, your ladies hockey Instagram's there and your Instagram's there. Is there anything people should know about that's coming up, or anything to plug social media wise? Just go for it.
Okay. Anyone listening, if you're actually thinking about getting into hockey, or you've played it before, you've never played it before, please just don't hesitate to contact any one of us, because so many of the new people and members of the club came to hockey with never playing before, and we are always accepting new members. So please just get in touch, and we'd be really excited to meet you. Yeah.
I bet buying fish bowls for you would certainly help.
Oh, you promised this. I haven't.
I'm just putting it out there. If anyone wanted to get in your good books, just study the answers to what we've just gone through.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely work. But if you want to join hockey, there is a team for you, so you don't actually need to do that. Exactly.
So that wraps it up. So thank you so much, Lara, for coming on. This was a lot of fun, and I'm also good luck for ladies hockey over this upcoming year, and certainly we'll definitely be keeping tabs on how it goes. I'm really excited.
Great, thank you so much.
No worries. So that would do it for us, guys. That was that would be our interview done. So obviously coming up, we've got an F1 show coming on tomorrow probably, and then football on Saturday. So be sure to tune in for that. But for now, that's it for us. So thanks, and we will hope to catch you soon.